thank Oscar to join us in Vivo Deporte. So we want to ask you how GSSI are looking the growth of sports practice among the population in Mexico, and how you see that opportunity.
Yeah, well, I can see clearly that sport is becoming very important in Mexico, and it's rapidly growing. For GSSI, the mission really is to help athletes perform and to help them with their performance, but also with their health. So I think that fits very well with like a growing market of people who want to go out there for either performance or to improve their health. So GSSI is a science institute, so we look for all the evidence that is out there, and based on that evidence we give advice that ultimately will land with the athletes.
Okay, and you know that here in Mexico we are one of the most countries with fat men and fat kids. It is an opportunity to beyond the sport people that have problems with their
no, it's a problem here. It's a problem around the world. Most countries now have this problem, and it is caused by a combination of diet and inactivity. So if we can get people to be more active and help them to do that in the right ways, in a very healthy way, and make some adjustments to the diet along the way, then I think that is a very important win.
And how do you think that the GSSI can help this population?
Yeah, so GSSI has we have a group of scientists within GSSI that do research, that make sure that they're always up to speed with all the information that's out there. We also have very good links with some of the top researchers in the world. So GSSI really is always on top of the literature and on top of all the information that's out there. Now we share that information as much as we can with coaches, with trainers, with dietitians, with sports medics, in the hope that we can kind of give them all the information and everything they need to do their job and help people further. So I see GSSI especially as an education institute for people who want to be active.
And this information, can we find it in Spanish, and where?
Yes, so GSSI has a website. On that website you find articles from some of the best scientists in the world on certain topics. There are very short interviews with these scientists of 1 minute where we ask them a very practical question and we expect them to answer the question in 1 minute, which is a very difficult thing to do for scientists. And there's a lot more information on that website. So the website is gssiweb.org, and there is a Mexican version of that website. So you can find all the articles in Spanish.
And you just opened a new lab here in Mexico at the university. Can you tell us something more?
Yeah, so
it's a nice lab. I went there, maybe there 4 days ago, and it's really nice.
Yeah, so GSSI started in 1985 near Chicago with a lab, and it was a lab where we brought in athletes and we tested them, and then we evaluated them and sent them home with advice. And in 2011, this is when I joined GSSI, we opened another lab in Florida. and that is our flagship lab now. It's a very nice lab at a campus of a facility where thousands of athletes train on a yearly basis. And then the next step was to go outside of the U.S. and open a lab. Mexico is one of the biggest markets, and it's rapidly growing. So we can clearly see the opportunity here to work with athletes, to learn from athletes outside of the U.S. as well, because there are clearly differences between countries, and we want to learn from athletes and then hopefully give something back in terms of education.
Perfect. And all this information that bring out of your research can be used by athletes and by the population that are making or practice sports, so they can get very important information that help them to practice better.
Yeah, so I mean the information is at different levels. So in some cases it is very much performance focused. In other cases it's more health focused. But I think people are, whether they are elite athletes or they are just people who just regularly exercise a little bit, the physiology of humans doesn't really change. So a lot of what applies to the elite athlete also applies to the everyday person. So yeah, I think we can definitely apply a lot of the information that we have on elite athletes to the general population.
Yeah, and we know that here in Mexico we need both information, health and performance information. So we are very happy to work with you in a lot of forms. In the radio show, we take information that GSSI Mexico give us. We interview Lourdes Mayol. We do a lot of sports clinics with you, with information and speakers from GSSI. So we are working together, and congratulations, because these events, like this Congress, that is full of people, get and give us a lot of information with specialists and scientists that we appreciate it.
And as we can see, there are many people looking for nice information and new information, you know. So maybe you can tell us if you have more plans to do things here in Mexico.
Yeah, I think this is. I would think that this is only the beginning with
Nice.
a conference and the opening of a lab. So yes, there is more to come. I think with GSSI in general, we since I joined in 2011, we've made a lot of progress, and initially we've really targeted the sports medics, the dietitians, and the trainers. The next step now for us is to make the information even more accessible, so that we can actually talk to athletes directly. So that's something that you can expect in the next few years.
That's great. So something else? No?
Thanks a lot, Oscar, and welcome Mexico.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Home. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. You speak Spanish? Nothing?
No, 10 words.